Hey everyone, it's time to Alright guys, so today, I'm sorry I can't be here, but today you are going to be doing some editing of things that you have done in the past. So if you have turned in, if you are part of that 48% who has turned in these assignments, then you will get some time to really think about revising. Otherwise, you're thinking about how can you make this the best version that you can when you go to turn it in for the first time. So today we're talking about interpreting feedback, thinking about what does it mean when you look at the paper, and then how can you do revisions on your paper, right? So just a reminder that 52% of the work in this class has still not been turned in. I will update that on Monday. So if you have anything, please turn it into the turn-in basket right at the side of my desk, and I will get it and grade it this weekend. So hopefully you are returning work right now so that you are getting back those pieces of paper that you have turned in. And I want to talk a little bit about the common feedback that I got, or that I was writing on a lot of papers. So I thought since I wrote on a lot of papers, we could talk about it as a whole. And a lot of times I would write one or more of these words: how, why, or expand. So what does this feedback mean? And often it would be the only thing I'd write, and then you might get a grade that you may not have been super happy with. So what does it mean, and what can you do to change it? Okay. So when I ask how, I'm often really asking, how do you know this? How is this true? How did you come to this conclusion? How does your proof work? So often what I found with how is I wasn't seeing your train of thought. I wasn't sure how you got there. I wasn't sure where you had gotten the information or kind of tracked your logic. Sort of the same thing with why. Why do you think that? Why is that true? Why do these things connect together? Why is this proof? So it's not that you don't have good ideas or that those ideas are wrong. It's that those ideas have been sort of left unexplained. So they are probably very well explained in your head, but they're not getting explained at all on paper, and I cannot read your head. Same thing goes with expand. You have an interesting thought or idea, and now you need to explain more thoroughly. Often you guys write in very vague statements. You're not being super descriptive or declarative. So overall, if it's vague, explain your thoughts more clearly and directly. Okay? Or it's not supported by the text, and that's why I'm asking how or why. Where do you see this? Is this the author's argument? Because something isn't quite clicking with the prompt or the reference text. Sometimes you guys got a little off of what Lakoff was arguing about, talking about Lakoff was arguing about supporting war, and that's not what Lakoff is writing about, right? We have to remember that Lakoff is writing about language. And then mostly more information is needed. Something is missing from your thought process, and I just want to see how you got there because that's just as important as your conclusion. Okay? So we're going to go ahead and pause to answer question number 1. This editing sheet will be turned in for a grade, so please make sure you are filling it out. All right, welcome back. Our directions now are to read the paragraph. It's unlabeled number 2, so it is the second question. And I would like you to read it and think about where you could label how, why, or expand if you were me, so that you can kind of see where these vague or needing to expand pieces are. So you're going to label just like I would if I was grading this paper, how, why, or expand. Then go ahead and answer number 3. Please be specific as possible. Remember, we're working on not being vague in our writing. So while you guys are working on labeling how, why, and expand and reading that paragraph, I do have the picture just in case you wanted to get some background information. The picture is here on the screen, so it'll be up here as you pause and work on this. All right, so the next step is that we're reading a revised version of the paragraph that you just read. So this paragraph has taken into consideration those ideas of how, why, and expand. And so I wanted to show you what it would look like to take a paragraph and revise it, add in those extra things. Also adding in a level of formality. Remember, we've talked about formal language, and that's still something that's missing a little bit in every few papers. So let me just read this really quick so we're all on the same page. The painting, The General, shows concepts of Lakhov's ideas by their use of dehumanization. The article discusses how terminology can affect how soldiers see the opposing side. Some terms of war are collective nouns, encouraging us to see the enemy as an undifferentiated mass rather than as individuals capable of suffering. This shows that soldiers can begin to see the other side as inhuman. Therefore, when a soldier is scared or forced to face their enemies, they can rely on the idea they are not killing individuals, but an evil force. The painting shows the same concept of dehumanization being a needed skill when faced with war. The painters created an undifferentiated mass of soldiers for the winning side to fight against. Unlike the soldiers in the foreground that the painter wants us to support, the other side has little to no facial detail and seems more like a force and less like people. This would allow someone to appreciate the heroism of war and not see it as a depiction of murder. Both texts show how important it is via language or art to make soldiers feel like the enemy is not human. Okay, so I'm going to put the picture back up and take a few minutes to answer the questions about the revision and also your own writing. If you don't have any writing, you did not turn in one of these paragraphs, do your best to self-assess of what it is you think in the past you've needed to work on, whether that was last semester or last year. So go ahead and do that.